How's it going, everybody? JT here on behalf of the EV Mavericks Discord channel. Boy, we are blasting out all over X. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch. And I hope that you guys are having a hell of a good Friday. We're back again with Brian Smocovich from Pistachio. Say hello, my friend.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for having me, JT. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Always a pleasure.
I'm just, blasting everything out as we get it going right now. So
yeah,
smash
those bells. We'd love to get some traction out there. This is a pretty exciting product at Brian. And what do you have a team of two? Is that you don't have a whole lot of people working on Pistachio, but you've developed this behemoth of a phone application I liken it to being like the Nutcracker Swiss Army knife of DeFi. Like it's a little bit of everything. It's on-ramping, off-ramping. I mean, I don't know. You were on the podcast in January. You were getting really close to launch. We hung out at ETH Denver, and now the time has finally come. And hats off to you guys. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much, JT. I appreciate it. And yeah, we're a team of two right now. Kind of hoping to grow. We have some stuff in the works right now. We have one potential senior engineer who wants to come on with us that we've been talking to, and just kind of got to lock him down. And then there's another crack dev friend of mine who hit me up like, "Hey man, I just want to come work for you guys for free for a bit and help you out and try to build some privacy solutions onto Pistachio and see what we can do." And so it's really cool that people like senior engineers see what we do and they love the product so much that they're like, "Yeah, I want to be a part of this," And so that's awesome and really kind of fills the soul a bit in the slog that is building a startup.
Yeah, and I remember at ETH Denver when I was cooking barbecue out there, Paul Brody stopped by from EY, and you were able to have him get a go at it, and he gave you some good, very helpful feedback at that time, and several other people as well. So fast forward from ETH Denver to now that you're released just on iOS for now, but Android is coming, correct?
Correct. We're working on getting that unblocked. Any Android developers out there, or not Android, but just React Native, basically, we're built in a way that we can deploy to both, and there's just some dependency issues in the Android that we're not fully understanding why it's broken, and so it's just working at it, chipping away at it until we figure out what the error is. So we should hopefully have that within the next few weeks.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. So how's the response been so far? What can people do? Let's go over the feature list of what is Pistachio. Why do I need it on my phone today?
Yeah. So the idea is that we protect your nut, right? We've created this mixture of a hot and cold wallet, essentially. It is I think it would be the safest version of a hot wallet that you can have. And just in the way that we make it so that we can handle your private key and protect it, and with multi-factor authentication to make sure that only you can get into your money and that it can't be stolen or recovered by anyone else that's not you, right?
Wow.
And so first it acts as like a digital vault. Things that you can do on the app right now is you can on-ramp in, there's 129 different countries that you can on-ramp to. We're working on improving that. We're going to integrate direct fiat transfers eventually. So that's like ACH, IBAN, SPAY accounts where you can just send cash to the account and it'll deposit and settle on-chain. That's not yet live, but that's like the vision that we're working towards. And then other things you can do right now is you can bridge in one transaction, right, in one click to any chain. You want to bridge to Base, you can do it and swap to Base all in one click, right? You want to deposit to our vaults. We currently have one of our vaults on Base is a USDC vault that optimizes among Aave, Compound, Morpho, Fluid to find you the best yield at all times. And you can deposit any token from any chain all in one transaction to that vault as well. So it makes it easy, right? If you want to input funds in Arbitrum or Optimism or wherever you hold funds, and then just be able to just deposit it to the vault very easily, earn some good yield, earn optimized yield, and then another thing that we have is you can send money to anyone in the world without gas. So we abstract away the gas from the vaults, we abstract away the gas from the sends. The goal, making Ethereum incredibly easy to use, smoothing over the pain points in a way that is more intuitive, makes sense, so that you can grow money, send money. And coming soon, we're going to have some cool features such as GliderFi, which is auto rebalancing portfolios. And so basically you can choose a percentage of, I want 50% ETH and 25% Bitcoin and 25% USDC, and I want it to automatically rebalance once every month. And so we have that feature coming out soon as well.
That's fantastic. Today we're talking to Brian Smocovich from Pistachio.fi. You can check that out on the World Wide Web at Pistachio.fi. He's got the app is live. They've been working on it for a couple of years. Also on a Discord here, joined by Logri the Bard. He's kind of our technical interviewer on here. I don't know if Logri's able to talk right away, but I was also curious if Logri had a chance to play around with Pistachio and if you had any feedback to give Brian and the team. We'll get him on in a little bit. He's probably messing with the baby. So
yeah, and I actually got to meet him in person in Denver as well, so that was cool. Yeah,
you got to put a seatbelt on and strap in, because that guy's he's got some ideas, and he'll keep your brain active. So, you mentioned earlier you have the ability to do kind of all-in-one app bridge swapping. Would you say that this app has done as much as possible in the ecosystem right now to abstract away all the friction and just get people going where they want to go in as few clicks as possible? Is that one of the focal points?
Yeah, that's one of our missions, right? Is wherever there's friction, wherever there's pain points that people have previously complained about very vocally, right? Yeah. Is abstracting away all those pain points, smoothing as much as possible. I mean, being moderators on Reddit, we always see a lot of the pain points very, very, very loudly being spoken. And so taking all that and just making it easy. I've been onboarding people for a very long time to crypto, and just watching them onboard, right? Like downloading the app, and it's like, okay, so download MetaMask, and now you have to get your key phrase, and I have to write down these 12 words, and if I lose them, I lose everything, right? And so it's like, it's tough, and it's especially on the conversion, right? So I've seen people fall off right at the very moment, like, nah, I'll do this later, and of course they never end up downloading or writing down their seed phrase and actually creating their account. And so one of the biggest barriers to entry alone was just getting set up with a wallet. And so now you can get set up with the Pistachio wallet in less than a minute. I mean, you said you even onboarded yourself pretty quickly. Again, it's, we have your username or your email or your one-time your SMS for your one-time password. You sign up with your username, we create your key for you, and boom, you're in, right? Everything's saved to the phone, everything's easily recoverable, and so just again, making it as easy as possible for people to get started.
What is the recovery process? I've lost my phone. Oh no, what shall I do?
Yeah. So the way that it works is that we store 2 key shares, not the private key, right? There are some applications that actually store your private key in your cloud. We store a key share, and so that's just a portion of it. We store a portion of it to your cloud, and the other portion is stored to our servers. Both halves are encrypted. And even if you were to unencrypt them and be able to put them, have them both halves, they would not be able to be put together, because the only way that we can actually put them together is that if you as a user initiate the recovery process. So you as a user, you lose your phone. Okay, what do I do now, right? Is my money gone? No, what you do is you have your new phone, right? You lose your iPhone, you get a new iPhone. You sign in, you're already signed into your cloud because you re-sign into all your accounts, right? You download your Pistachio app. Okay, I signed up to Pistachio with my email. Okay, cool. So I put in my jtnickel@gmail.com, whatever your email is. You don't have to actually say your email, obviously, if we're not going to dox you.
Already done.
And so... yeah.
Nice job.
Yeah. My bad. It's easily guessable. Mine's Brian Smocovich, so it's super, super straightforward as well.
I expect a lot of help desk to be reaching out to me in the next few days.
Yeah, right. And so you get your one-time password back. You get the email, right? Okay. I get my 11111 or 112345 6, whatever the one-time password is. I'm in. Oh, okay. I'm already connected with my iCloud. Let me initiate the recovery. Now that you've initiated the recovery, it'll ask you for your biometric, your Face ID, or your PIN, essentially. It's now been initiated on your end as a user. Goes to your personal cloud to search for the one key share. Now that you've proven that you've done a liveliness check with your one-time password, you've done another check that you have your half of the key, and you've initiated the recovery. We release the other half of the key, and they get put together. It deletes the old key now, so the old, or it doesn't delete it. It makes it basically not signable, essentially. And so that key is useless, and you now have the new key on your phone, and you have access to your funds again.
Okay, so, all right, the recovery process. If you signed up with an email, you're going to go through the steps of doing that. Your 2FA on your email, of course, because everybody should be doing that, a non-phone SMS style. And then the bio recovery. Gotcha. So if you switch from, let's say, iPhone over to Android, does that kind of corrupt things a little bit, or just you've already maybe made the switch in other ways?
So it's going to use the same 2FA logic, 2FA. Right? So
Thank you, Logri.
So have you ever used like Google Auth or an equivalent vault system?
Yeah.
Okay, so those 6 numbers that come out?
Yeah.
That's basically a private key signing a timestamp.
That's right. Okay, got it. That makes sense.
So there is a private key that's in the 2FA in your phone, not on the cloud, unless you specifically enabled recovery, in which case you just created a backdoor that you don't want. But there is a private key in your 2FA app on your phone that is not anywhere else. You can use that private key to do a bunch of things, including encrypt and decrypt things, right?
Sure.
So when you have the 2FA on your phone, that is a extra source of security that they're using to make it so that their copy of the key that they have isn't useful without it, right?
Got it.
I'm speaking in high-level terms because I think that'll be more accessible. But the extra point of security is you have a secret they don't have that stops them from being able to use the key share that they have, right? And when you take that extra secret, you can then basically say the old key is invalid, we're going to make a new one, right? That's valid on this device. And so you want to hop from Android to iOS, okay, the old device is invalid, the new device is valid, right? It doesn't matter what device it is. It could be on your computer, for that matter. It could be on whatever phone. It could. The point is that you want to invalidate the previous device and then create a new device. And so it's a very generic construct.
Yeah, that's helpful to know. And Brian, this is Brian Smocovich from Pistachio, joining also on the call is Logri the Bard, tokenomicsexplained.com. I will say from my experience when I installed Pistachio, it really did take less than a minute. It's such a frictionless way to spin up a wallet quickly. I mean, it's a great app for, I would trust it for more than just a basic, $100 spin.
Not Eddie Denver. It's got process.
Everything. Yeah.
It's not just the sign-up process. The gas abstraction. Let's say you go through the MetaMask thing. You go and you write down your words, and you somehow get someone to bother with that. And then you say, if you lose these words, you lose everything. And they somehow are okay with that, which, God, we're all crazy, right? Then what's the next thing they do? How do I get some ETH? Well, I'm not going to donate you some. I'm stingy AF. So what do? You say, oh, well, you need to go make a Coinbase account. Okay. And then Coinbase is like, take a picture of your ID, wait, some time. Okay, you're in a forbidden state, or you're not part of okay, so I can't get it through there. Let's say you get through that process. So now a 10-minute onboard experience for setting up MetaMask has become a multiple hour, maybe a full day exercise on board. What's your next thing? Okay, I need to bridge some USD there. Great. Okay, well, wait 3 to 5 days for an ACH transfer. Okay, you initiated the transfer. Coinbase is going to be generous. They give you a credit line saying you can buy the ETH today. Great. So I buy the ETH, but I can't withdraw it until the funds settle. So now a 1 day delay might be a 3 to 5 day business day delay in onboarding. Now I get the ETH. I can withdraw it. What's the withdrawal process? enter in a fucking hash, 0x thing that
Yeah.
you don't understand, hit submit, and they say, congratulations, we sent it. And now your stomach drops and you're like, where is it? Right? It's even worse on the receiving side, but you go to withdraw. It's not as though Coinbase has a connect your wallet, experience where your MetaMask talks to the Coinbase application so you can't send the funds to the wrong address. No, you absolutely can send the funds to the wrong address. And you have no idea what you're doing, right?
I love that you mentioned this flow, Logris, because we have a very specific thing within the app that lets you connect your Pistachio wallet to centralized exchanges. So you can connect directly, and it's a secure connection, directly to your Coinbase wallet and pull the funds as opposed to having to go through this rigmarole.
You can never pull the wrong address. You can always push to any address. So pull is always safer. So you look at what Pistachio is doing. They've solved this in multiple layers, right? The first layer is you can just set up the wallet without having to write down a key phrase, and you can do so in an incredibly secure and backupable way, right? So step one, huge UX gain on the first 10 minutes. Step two, they have the ability to deposit and withdraw directly without going through the broker exchange thing, right? So I can get USDC on my wallet without having to first sign up for Coinbase and get the USDC there and then withdraw it from Coinbase to my wallet. It's direct to wallet.
That's
in a way that integrates.
That's mind blowing.
So that's wonderful, right? As an on-ramp experience. The third thing is now I want to pay someone with my USDC. Usually I need ETH gas. So I have to go through this whole other asset that I don't understand because I'm not after ETH. I'm after the financial service, right? And ETH is just this fucking Chuck E. Cheese token, to me. If I'm a new person saying okay, fine, so now I've got this other balance of something I don't really understand, and what's the point of that? I just want to be able to send it to my mom in Mexico, right? So it's once they have the fiat on there, you're immediately able to use it as well, right? So it's actually a 3x or a 3-stage UX improvement all rolled into one application, right?
It's all non-custodial, right? It's not you're not giving your funds to Coinbase and having them custody them for you. No, this is your own on-chain account, right?
No one had to take a picture of your driver's license for this. At least I didn't have to, right?
Right.
Because guess what? My credit card already has done the KYC for me. Right, when I did an application for a credit card, they know who I am. So why do I also have to set up a Coinbase account to get on, as sort of the on-ramp to crypto? And then why doesn't Coinbase have the same type of interface we have throughout all of DeFi? And why, when the funds are in transmit, why can't I withdraw the ETH already? Is there this multi-day delay? All these things it's antiquated, right? And it doesn't have to be that way. And so Pistachio has come with a way that is much better, that makes it so it doesn't have to be this way. So yeah, how much would I trust with it? I'm not putting $1 million on my Pistachio account. I have that. I don't even want a multi-million-dollar account. I don't want that even on a single signature, right? I want that through some type of policy-based access control with withdrawal limits and real careful checks on that. Because self-custody is inherently a dangerous thing. So no knocking on Pistachio, but they're not going to be the full security state-of-the-art solution. If you're willing to go the extra mile and try and secure a multi-million-dollar account, they're not trying to be that. But they could totally be your checking account.
Exactly. Well put. Our ideal user is to hold, we want people to hold, between 10 and 50 grand on here, right? Somewhere in that 5-digit range. In which you can just easily have it. You can very easily earn yield in the different yield vaults that we have. And then we're going to have either a credit card or a debit card, basically, that allows you to flawlessly spend the money with low transactions, maybe a very low annual fee or $20 or something like that, with good quality rewards, right? And that's the goal. Everything in one place, be your on-chain checking account. And then eventually, again, having the ability, Logris wasn't here before, so I just wanted to kind of reiterate it, the ability to have a virtual ACH IBAN and SPAY is Mexico, by the way, accounts to be able to accept basically dollars, euros, and Mexican pesos all directly to your on-chain account with minimal amount of fees. I think that takes like 40 basis points. That would require a KYC, right? In order, if you want these like virtual fiat accounts. But to download and use Pistachio, as Logris was saying before, there's no KYC, right? We don't need because it's on-chain, because it's non-custodial, we don't need your license just to get started. And if you already have on-chain funds, you can just port them in and have at it, right?
That's fantastic.
Yep. Last thing for me that, I recommended was there's a lot of crypto debit cards out there, but a debit card hits the chain on every transaction. And that is less gas efficient than give me some credit off the fact that the assets are here, right? Put it in a month-long escrow account, so I can deposit like $1,000 or whatever over to my credit line account. It can't be pulled back without this month or something, right? Cool. So now you can give me a credit line for $1,000. I should be able to rack up to $1,000 on my Visa, right, without hitting the chain in every transaction, and then just pay it back from my credit line account. So basically, the month-long lock gives you the guarantee that I can't run away with the funds and rip off the credit card. But I want something where I can get my points, get my cash back, go to use it for point of sale, and then pay it directly from my checking account, basically, rather than take my USDC and then go through Coinbase, go back to Chase and whatever, or Bank of America or whatever, and then pay off the credit card from there. I want to integrate it so I can directly pay it from Pistachio.
Hey, I've got the app up. I actually have a little bit more on there than I thought. Why don't we just do a simple swap here from ETH, and then it'll do the bridging automatically if I select base USDC. Is that correct?
Yeah. Are you going? Where are you going from? ETH mainnet to base USDC?
I think so.
That's what it says to me.
Yeah. Shot. That transaction will take a little bit because obviously mainnet.
Sure. But it's
mainnet, but
yeah.
Just be patient with it and go for it. I'd love to.
Okay, I got base selected. I'm going to select USDC and can put in.
Really? You're going to sell ETH, JT? But it's down. You're supposed to be buying ETH.
I'll buy it back, I promise.
Selling ETH live on the.
Yeah, technology is confounding him again.
Yeah, right. You can use the slide. Try the slider. It's going to be the easiest way.
HTTP error on the bottom is stopping it from reading your finger. I don't know what's going on the bottom, but the big error button on the bottom is stopping it from reading your finger.
Love a live test.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it live, right?
This is great though, because the best part about the best and worst part about seeing people use the app is like they never use it necessarily in the way that like you expect them to. You're like, okay, they're going to do this.
Yeah, so I was just trying to select like 50 USDC, but when I went to do that, it said, nah. So do the slider.
Yes, I highly recommend the slider, although it shouldn't be.
Okay.
$50, man, big spender.
I know, big spender.
Whatever.
There it is.
Request failed with status code 429. Rate limit exceeded. Retry in 2 hours.
Okay, I can do that.
I don't think that's supposed to happen.
That's all right.
No, it's
okay.
not. I don't know why. Let's see if it should work with mine. There we go. Share screen. I can't share my screen.
On Zoom? Yeah. I can allow you on Zoom.
Can I throw it on Discord? Do I throw it on Discord? Is that what?
No, well, if we do it on Zoom, it'll come through better. Give me a hot second here. All right, so I'll put you as a host. How about that? There we go. Now you should be able to do anything you want.
I'm going to share this screen here. Let me make sure that my notifications are off. You never know what comes up on these things, right? Share my screen. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
All right.
Hit it.
So we're gonna go into swaps, and I'm gonna just try to do the same thing that you were doing. I mean, I don't really want to sell ETH. Maybe let's buy ETH. Can we do that? Let's buy ETH instead. So like if I wanna USDC on base to because we're gonna do a bridge, right? And so why don't we bridge to mainnet? This might be a little, it's going to cost me $4.83 in swaps just because of the mainnet fee, the gas fee.
Got it.
But we're gonna bridge from the layer 2 back to the layer 1. I'm gonna buy $66 worth of ETH. There we go. The transaction sent.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, and so it'll be there already. And what we do is we like to roll up the ETH because in a lot of wallets, it's like, oh, you have 7 different forms of ETH. It's like, nah, man, I just want to see everything in one place, right? I want to see my base ETH, my mainnet ETH, my scroll ETH, my Arbitrum ETH, and I can see it all just like wrapped up into one balance.
Yeah, it's just a big one pager of what you actually own, so you don't have to flip through tabs. That's something that's gotten better over time.
And so what's cool here, this is the deposit, right, that we were saying. So let's say I want to deposit the native asset, right? This is USDC on base. And so if I want to deposit USDC on base, I'd like $5. We don't do token approvals. We've abstracted away that, and we don't do gas. And so, boom, deposit successful. It's just going to deposit $5 worth into my account where I'm currently earning 6.3%. And basically, we tell you all the risks, the overall risks, everything here. If I want to withdraw it, same thing, right? I can withdraw it instantly, deposit, withdraw, and then, so that's cool, right? Makes it kind of very simple, very easy. If you want to deposit from another chain, so let's say I don't want to sell my Aave because I like my Aave. Let's say, what do I got here? I have some Ethereum on Arbitrum. And so I'm going to deposit. I have 003, so why don't I do like 001 and just deposit 2 cents. And I'm going to deposit that. Sending swap transaction. So we have a swap fee here because we have to kind of cover the fee and the gas deposit for doing this. And so it's depositing default. The deposit's in progress because it does take a moment to like basically do the swap and then everything in one transaction, but it happens in the background, right? And so, boom, deposit successful. I just waited long enough, and boom, it went.
Oh,
fantastic! So that was nice.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, and there's bugs, right? There's as we saw with yours.
Yeah, but that's
so
fine.
This is something that we've built. We've been building for a while, but it's 2 of us, and we have. It's just the one dev who's really built all this. And so as we get this feedback and bugs and everything else, we fix it as we go and we improve it and we make it hardened. And eventually this will be easier for retail, right? The idea of just getting people in and everything just works. Like the bug that JT goes through, that won't exist.
I will say this, every time I've opened up Pistachio, there's an update available. So you guys are heads down, like you're cracking through the things, and that's all, that's great. Is there anything else you want to go over before we move on to the Doots?
What else? I mean, yeah, so the overall vision where we want to go, right, is this idea of one unified on and off chain. And so what I mean by that is I've mentioned already the fiat deposit, right?
Right.
And what that means on the back end, though, is this idea that instead of having all of these chains, because I think that's still the biggest cognitive lift for users is we still have to worry about Base and Arbitrum and Plume and whatever other chain that we have, right? There's all these different chains. And so that itself is still a fractured and rough user experience, especially to someone new who doesn't want to learn of, well, what's Ethereum mainnet? What's layer 2? What is this? What is a bridge, right? Like, why do I even have to bridge at all? And so where we're going is this idea of chain abstraction, right? This idea of you don't even actually have to know which of the layer 2 networks your ETH is sitting on. And so instead of seeing your Ethereum on, I have this much on Base, this much on Arbitrum, this much on Scroll, what we're going to do is create a way that your liquidity of Ethereum or USDC or whatever token that you have is instantly available across all of the EVMs. And instead of having this sort of like fractured user experience where, let's say right now I want to send you $5 on USDC and Base, or I want to send you $15, right? and I have $5 on base and $10 in Arbitrum. And so, okay, if I want to send the 15, I have to send you 2 separate transactions.
Right.
No, this idea of no, I just want my USDC to show me that I have $15, and then I want to send it to you all in one transaction and without gas. And so that's the future vision of what we're going to have, right? Is this idea of a unified Ethereum, a unified EVM that you don't even have to worry about the L2.
That's fantastic. Yeah, abstracting that away and just getting where you want your money to go and who you want it to go to without them having to eat a fee or whatever on their end, kind of, this is this climate that we live in with, Visa, MasterCard and everything. They're all taking 3%. Well, the customer doesn't see that. The retailer sees it. It'd be nice if we could get to a system like what you're talking about here, where things just kind of work and the amount of money that's expected is what actually ends up in the pot on the other side. Let alone the fact you could do some of your own financial instruments, that can accrue interest, and you could just do it with a few clicks instead of logging into a website to a bank. And, it's cool. It's very cool. It's great for crypto natives, but it seems like it's abstracting away some of the friction for normies to be able to come through and get onboarded as well. So very good.
Exactly. And that's the vision. That's like the general expansion plan as well, is just to be incredibly useful for crypto natives, right? Like that I think crypto natives will see, especially people like Ethereum evangelists, will see and understand, like the people who have been here for, even like more than 3 years, like 5, 6, 8 years, they'll see and understand all of the complexities that we've abstracted away, how easy that we truly have made this. And, even despite a few bugs about like the vision of, okay, once this works and is flawless, like this is going to be awesome, right?
Yeah.
Like this is what we've wanted. And then using that as a way to get people to tell their friends, right? Like people have been scared to onboard their friends and family to crypto for the longest time for several reasons, right? One is like, okay, well, if they lose their seed phrase, they lose all their money, right? So one, like, is my family member going to lose all their money? Two, are they gonna get hacked, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
are they gonna lose to some scam? Three, are they going to lose money to volatility, right? Am I having them buy the top, and then are they losing money out of this? And so by bringing stable coins to the forefront of the app, we're also mitigating that in a way, right? It's like, no, you can just, if you can toy with if you want ETH, if you want Aave, if you want any of these tokens, at any point you can buy them. Or if you want to just sit in stables, sit comfy and earn 6.5%, whereas your Apple Wallet earning account earns 3.8%, right? Like you can earn much better yield in DeFi because there are much better earning opportunities in DeFi. It's just that right now, DeFi is 10,000 different web pages in which you need to connect your Rabby wallet to and figure out what's what. And so we curate the opportunities, we find the audited ones, we bring it to you in a safe and easy way to understand of, no, just deposit it here and just let it sit and grow, right? Instead of having to go through all of the complexities of the hunting and finding yield when people don't really want to go through all of that. People want to be lazy. They just I want to deposit my money and choose where I deposit my money, and I want it to make money. Like, right? Like that's it. And so that's sort of the goal. I also have this sort of theory of like, it's like whether like competition, right? It's like, oh, well, you're competing against this app and this app and this app. It's like, well, yeah, because there's a good, to be honest, there's a good amount of competition in the sort of application that I'm building, right? The difference is, it's like, okay, so what makes someone download Pistachio over Infinex, right? And it's like, they have to hear Pistachio first, right? It's not like new users, when they get into crypto, they're not like, okay, well, let me do my research on which of these 5 different wallet apps is going to be the best. No, it's you tell someone, download this, right? Like that's how it works. Download this app because I'm telling you that this is I've already done the research, and I'm telling you I like this app, I trust this builder, I know what they're doing. Download this one instead. And so they download it, and that's really how it grows, right? It's like word of mouth, referrals. And so that's what we're going to be focusing on, right? Is that if you want to get your normie friends into crypto, you can now feel comfortable doing so because they'll be protected, they'll be safe, they'll be able to recover their funds, they'll be able to onboard very easily. And now the next part for us is, and where we're going, one is just to obviously fix like the some of the edge cases of bugs, but two, making it really stupid simple to be able to get fiat into crypto and onto the app, right? It's easy for us because we're crypto natives. Like, it's like, oh, I already have all these funds on chains. You had funds deposited into your wallet before we even started this, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was a no-brainer for you.
Yeah.
But for the people who don't yet have crypto, we do have ways to on-ramp, right? And it's like ways that you can buy. But it's not to it's good enough where it works, but it's not to me where it needs to be, right? Like, I always want to push for something better. And so, for example, whether we're integrating the ACH deposits or I want to integrate with the Coinbase on-ramping as well, because the Coinbase on-ramping allows users, at least in the United States, to create a guest account and deposit up to $500 per week, right, with like minimum KYC and just like by connecting your Apple Pay. And so with that, it's like, I mean, especially how many newbies are depositing, more than $2,000 a month into crypto. It's a good enough amount for that kind of frictionless experience. And so we're looking at that solution and other solutions, right? There's other people who are kind of doing this type of thing, but just trying to find the easiest way to like fiat in, back to fiat if you need to, but realistically you kind of just can like save a few tens of thousands of dollars just in Pistachio, just chilling.
That's excellent, man. And then I was going to ask you too, does it allow for airdrop on iPhone? Is that a thing that people could use the airdrop feature to send funds?
I've really wanted to look to do something like this. Airdrop's been a bit closed off in how you can do things, and so right now it's just like a copy paste of, okay, I can like send you my address, but we just mitigate that with usernames and QR codes to make it like super simple. But that is once I believe they are opening up that sort of feature to do things. So that's something I would absolutely love to take advantage of. Again, we just kind of restrict it on developer bandwidth.
Yeah, maybe you could. It's just got that haptic response that's so satisfying. But it would be cool if you made the sound of a pistachio nut cracking open when it got transferred over. I think that little mimetic stuff is fun,
Yeah, no, absolutely it is. Maybe we should do that just even for the sends right now, and like a little crack. It's like how cow swap moves.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. All right, Brian. Well, thanks so much for hanging out today, and you're welcome to hang out, and we'll continue on with the Daily Doots portion of the podcast where we celebrate all of our friends on Reddit. And but before we move on to that, where can they find you, and where can they find Pistachio?
Yeah, you can find us on, the easiest place is to find us on X, on X, and at BSMOKES, at BSmokes_, yeah, right there. We also got PistachioFi right in my bio right there, which makes it kind of easy to find. PistachioFi, or PistachioFi on socials, Pistchio.fi on the web. And then one of the best parts is in the App Store. If you search Pistachio or PistachioFi, you'll find us immediately. There is no other app called Pistachio. We are the only one.
Well, on that note, if you do download it, make sure to give them a review and throw them some 5 stars, and give them a follow on X. As many people know, it's noisy out there, but I've been kind of watching Brian from a distance work on this beast for the last couple of years. He's also a fellow moderator on our Ethereum. If you get a chance, stop by the subreddit where we're both moderators. It's our Ethereum, the main technical sub. And obviously, a lot of people moved on to X, but there's such a good daily conversation on our Ethereum, and that's what we're about to go into right now, celebrating the best of the week from our Ethereum and the daily general discussion. All right, well, let's do it. So I think Hani Abu, I don't think he's had a chance to update the site, so I'm going to do the leaderboard from last week. But I know these numbers have changed somewhat. I know Superfizz got he got up on the list again this week. So at number 10, JS Tears at 116, Aiden Cairo at 118. This does look updated because I graded JS Tears Haiku of the Week this week, and I know it's a 116. Aiden Cairo at 118, tied with Ethical Trade at 118, Crypto Out Currency at 122, Hanny Abu at 132, Tricky Troll climbing up to 156, Benito 2030 at 173, Logri the Bard at 210. Harog is absolutely smashing up this chart at 223, and we have Super Fizz at the top of the leaderboard at 226. Let's see. I know we got a list of things going on here. Let's go to the podcast, because I think he's got the upcoming guests that we're going to have. We got a slew of them. All right. Afo and Matt from Green Pill Dev Guild coming on June 27th. No show on the Freedom Day, 4th of July. I'll be busy losing eyebrows and spending way too much money on fireworks. I got a friend that's a Class B shooter, so we get the good shit. Sid Powell from Maple Finance on July 11th. July 18th, Mike Rainbow from Rainbow Wallet. Marco Mirabella from Insuro on July 25th. Paul Berg from Sablier. I'm excited to talk to Paul about Sablier. Loring Harkness from the Shutter Network. I think Ben brought him on board. And Leo Lanza, the bull case for ETH. That dog on X has been stirring up a lot of love out there. So Leo Lanza, August 22nd. I'm working on a guest for August 15th, and she is a crypto tax advisor. So if you have crypto tax questions, she was actually she's affiliated with the firm that Ali. We had the gentleman Ali from Madhavji that's on the Crypto Sharks show on Amazon Prime. She's part of that consortium of folks, so I'm excited to get her. She's not necessarily talking about Ethereum. She's talking about paying your taxes and learning a bit about that. So, all right, let's see if we got the weekly roundups updated. I don't think we do. Well, let's see. Is this though? Because I want to look, because this may be the wrong date up here. It says 114. Yeah, it's 19 days ago. Okay, so Hanny hasn't updated this. That's okay. That's okay, because it all comes from the A word anyway. User the A word is the person that curates this beloved weekly list. We couldn't do this show without them. Let me see. I need to close all the tabs to the right. Let's go straight in with the Trinity, followed by the haiku, and then the shit post. All right, so looks like Frank the Tank is doing the kicking off the Trinity for this day. Alexis kept putting in the price at 25.08 at 12 meatballs. Replies, it's trying really hard. Don't knock its self-confidence. Oh my gosh. And Self-Made Millionaire chiming in. Self-Made Millionaire is new, pretty new to Reddit, but they've been a pretty consistent contributor on the daily, giving us the ratio at 0.024 on that ratio. JS Tears Haiku of the Week. Popping up bubble, liquidity won't double, stay out of trouble. How does he do it, JS Tears? How does he do it? You know, he's the ETH Paris organizer. Do you know that, Brian? JS Tears?
I do not.
Yeah, he's the ETH Paris organizer. He's been doing a daily haiku for ever. All the way back on Ethfinance. I'm like, I don't know how he does it. So I give him a point a week.
Before JS Tears, there was a different haiku book as well. So the haiku tradition goes back way too long, right?
Yeah, hold that thought. Keep talking. I got it somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I got it.
The haiku tradition goes back a long, long time. And then once upon a time, there used to be a guy named Kitty that would that did a bunch of art related to this stuff too.
So
they made a really pretty haiku book. I don't know if they ever made any actual money on it, but it's pretty.
Well, I bought it.
I got a digital copy.
It. So I got
exactly.
the physical copy.
I spend a bunch of money on frivolous things to support my community projects.
Hell yeah.
So
it was Crocodile Mansion, I think, and Kidda together worked on that. I think.
Yeah, it was Croc. You're right. Yeah.
He just got
Before
married.
It was JS Tears. It was Croc.
You want to talk about community? I'm going to go off the rails just a little bit. I got a story about Crocodile Mansion. Been around since the ETH Trader days, before the Ethfinance split. When I was still teaching, he sent me postcards, 4 postcards, as he walked across Spain. He walked across Spain, and every so often I would get a card in the mail from Spain. I just thought that was kind of like a neat a neat deal because he's just a sweetheart of a dude. I think he just got married as well. So
and you just RSVP'd back some Kansas City rub or something.
That's right. I wish I could have been his destination DJ in the Netherlands. That would have been a disappointment for the people over there because I probably play music. There'd be a smattering of country in there and they wouldn't know what to do. Anyway, let's get back to it. All hail the eternal crab, Iter ad Astra, giving us the beautiful artwork with the price in the middle. I love that shit. It's so good. And of course, our ship post of the week, because we always like to save the best for first. Turkish 2026 relative newcomer. Yesterday, we entered a time loop. Today, this is the bracketed script text. We have broken the simulation. This is what happens when we don't quit. The Matrix programmers are running out of ideas. All that is left now is up and to the right. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Rocket to the moon.
And that was my fault. I broke the daily.
Well, that was my attempt to fix it, which still broke the daily.
But at least we had a daily. It might not be in time index correct, but at least there was a daily for people to talk about.
Yeah, and I had to log in manually, create a daily, and then I was trying to remember what are the bracketed things you got to do. I was doing a little Google search. I in the history of the world, I can screw up a copy paste like no one's business. So we went through another day with that crap in the headline, this bracketed text up here. I don't even know what this is called necessarily. It's just some style thing that Reddit can use to automatically put the data in. But as you can see, it's all fixed now. We are back to reality. So make sure you update the diddly. Yeah, there it is. The date came through today. Thank freaking God. Okay, very good. Now we're moving on to the Doots of the week. Got all the opening comments out of the way. Let's go back over to... I closed out the wrong damn thing. My bad. Well. If it wasn't for mistakes, I'd make no mistakes at all. Let's see. Hayward, where you at, baby? There he is. Okay, here we go. Crypto Currency educates us on censorship from Bitcoin Core and their efforts to rewrite history. Oh boy. Crypto Currency is a Deuter 122. They write, Bitcoin Core developers are currently rewriting one of the most important parts of Bitcoin's history. Ironically, it's through the use of an official opinion piece posted directly on bitcoin.org. Do not let this happen. Help us publish far and wide that they are trying to erase Bitcoin's past. From today's opinion piece, they say they have a long-running policy of allowing users to run different Bitcoin software that implements different network policies, which is, quote, the network's primary safeguard against coercion, unquote. This is a dangerous lie, as anyone who has been part of the crypto community since 2015 can tell you. The quote from today's statement, here it is. Bitcoin is a network that is defined by its users, who have ultimate freedom in choosing what software they use, fully validating or not, and implementing whatever policies they desire. Bitcoin Core contributors are not in a position to mandate what those are. One way this is reflected is by our long-running practice of avoiding auto-updating in the software. This means that no entity can unilaterally push out changes to Bitcoin Core users. Changes must be made by users choosing to adopt new software release themselves, or if they so desire, different software. Being free to run any software is the network's primary safeguard against coercion. Now, let's rewind to 2015. In 2015, the core developers removed Coinbase from Bitcoin.org, and all discussion of Coinbase was banned on our Bitcoin, including me. The ban wasn't even because Coinbase was running Bitcoin software that implemented a different policy. It was because Coinbase took a, quote, wait and see, unquote, approach towards network policy and did not affirmatively denounce the use of such software through their official communication channels. Because Coinbase did not affirmatively defend the core client against alternate policy, they were deemed not a Bitcoin company and removed from the official Bitcoin.org materials. Here's a quote. Thamos made good on his earlier threats in the archive to remove Coinbase from Bitcoin.org, along with any other company that dared to voice an opinion in favor of bigger blocks. There's a screenshot of a private message exchange we had with our Bitcoin moderator. It's a series of numbers in which the moderator explains that discussion of Coinbase is now completely forbidden in our Bitcoin for being off topic, simply because they run a different backend that is not Bitcoin core. Okay, cryptocurrency continues in closing. The article tells the whole story, but the basic gist is that the core developers were firmly, adamantly against clients that implement different policies. So much so that they used official resources to cancel any person or company that attempted to use them or promote their usage. So the idea that they have a, quote, long-standing policy, unquote, of acceptance to alternate clients is dangerous. The issue of rewriting history is relevant to all blockchains, including Ethereum. It's critical to preserve this part of history so that it doesn't happen again. If they can successfully erase it, we are all effed. All right, cryptocurrency coming in with the heater to lead off this week's Dudes. All right, Hanny Abu, Duder 132, a call to action for Vanek Twitter. Let's see, Vanek Twitter poll, and user Tricky Troll 156 answers the call. If you have a Twitter account, help do your part. It shouldn't even be this close of a poll. Normally polls are dumb, but the optics coming from an ETF provider matters. Let's open up this tweet. All right, ETF Vanek posts on here. The poll is closed. They were wanting to know Ethereum versus Solana. It looks like Ethereum was the clear winner. Thank God it landed on the meme number of 69. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that.
Boom, boom, boom.
I'd have liked 99 better, but...
You do what? Sorry. What did you say, Lokri?
I would have liked 99 better.
I would have liked 99 much better, but...
Just blow them out.
I agree. You know, a 71 is a good number, too. That's a 69 with 2 people watching. Okay, here we go. Moving on back to the Doots. Let's get our heads out of the gutter, kids. Come on. Get control of yourself. All right. Looks like ETH Prague journalism piece. Looks like 12 meatballs. 12 meatballs. Your ears are burning down in the chat on Discord. By the way, you can join the EV Mavericks Discord if you're watching us on X or on Twitch. We're an NFT group, but we are not NFT gated. We are the most wholesome, welcoming Ethereum group pretty much anywhere. I think I am biased as a holder of an EV Maverick. Not to mention intelligent, too. Logri the Bard carries the weight of myself personally, so thank you, Logri. Okay, very good. 12 Meatballs shares their ETH Prague journalism piece on the state of privacy in Web3. They write, during ETH Prague, I posted here to say that the panel on the Ethereum privacy roadmap was a bit depressing. Richard Sagan asked if I would elaborate on that, which I took as encouragement to choose that panel for my first article about the event. And there's a link to this article. We are LARPing privacy. It's a 4-minute read. I've also linked the video so you can watch it directly. Oh, nice. Let's do it. Why not? Huh? Let's go for it. ETH Prague, we are LARPing privacy. This is one of ETH Prague ended with a panel on the state of privacy within the Ethereum ecosystem in Web3, hosted by Mykola Siuzoko, featuring Emil Bays from Railgun, Sarinko from NIM, Mario Havel from an Ethereum Foundation protocol support, and Lasha Antadze from Raramo. Boy, I butchered those names, I guarantee you. On the day, I posted on social media that the panel was fascinating but a bit depressing, and I was asked if I could elaborate on that. What I expected, here we go. Privacy is hard, but we are getting there. What I heard is we know it's broken. We've known for years, and no one really wants to fix it. The panel is now on YouTube for you to watch in full. There's a link here on Reddit. And then in April, Vitalik laid out a 9-step roadmap for an ecosystem where privacy is the default. On paper, the path forward looks clear, although Vitalik conceded that it required what he called, quote, significant convenience sacrifices, unquote. But at ETH Prague, the panelists painted a damning picture. of our potential for privacy by default for Ethereum and Web3, technically capable and culturally underprepared. The panel kicked off with Mikola, whose Web3 Privacy Now project aims to build a robust privacy culture in the blockchain industry, asking every panelist to start with an honest assessment. What is the state of so-called Web3 privacy? How would you measure the temperature of where we are? Emil Bays, a core contributor to the privacy-focused protocol Railgun, neatly sidestepped the question, instead talking about Railgun. Not the perfect system, but the system that works today, proudly commenting that it had been shilled by Vitalik. I mean, I'd be proud too. All right. Sirinko serves as developer relations for the NIM core team, focused on integrating advanced privacy infrastructure to the Ethereum ecosystem. He tried to be positive, but ended up on a disheartened, quote, "I'm not sure if I'm that bullish, unquote. He pointed out that Ethereum and the internet were not designed to offer privacy by default, but he hopes that we are experiencing a slow culture shift. Quote, it's not impossible, let me rephrase that. It's not impossible to be private, unquote, was as positive as he could get. Mario is a researcher and advocate at the Ethereum Foundation representing the EF protocol support, so his critiques come from inside the house. He agreed that transparency could only take us so far and complained that we talk about privacy, but we don't exercise it. It's sort of LARPing. It's sort of signaling, unquote. Projects focus on the right keywords or a narrow focus while completely missing the point. And users are using iPhone or Google where there's no privacy on the base layer. Lasha has been working on blockchain identity solutions since Ukraine's early government initiatives. He talked about the difference between security conscious and the wider world, especially under the onslaught of AI, and concluded that we are effed. Outside of the crypto cocoon, we are fighting a losing battle, and the hyper-convenience of AI will make it worse. Previously, people spread their digital footprint across different services, whereas now it is trending towards a single interface. They all agreed that Ethereum's radical transparency is great for a trustless, but bad for privacy. The tools we've built are flawed. They don't work well or don't scale, and no one wants to use them. Everyone's saying the right words and building the right sounding projects, but as Mario repeated, much of the discussion is just performance and signaling. He also had a bit of a rant about the community co-opting terms, from Ethereum devs calling themselves hackers to everything being described as cypherpunk. The overall fear is that while we are playing at privacy, the real threats are getting worse. Your encrypted transaction means little if your IP, your phone number, and your browser fingerprints are broadcasting your identity every time you use the app. The biggest hurdle is getting people to believe in and use the tools, even when they are less convenient. A few years ago, I had a contract writing fiction for a European defense agency, and this reminded me of an issue they had with field radios. The military wanted these to be 100% secure when used by personnel behind enemy lines to ensure no tactical information would leak, not just the transmission but the location of the teams, and that communication was even happening. Yeah, it was time. It was time-consuming to stop and set up and log in, so instead they used their phones, connecting to enemy cells and sharing classified intel on an unsecured network. That's the problem in a nutshell. Privacy is complex. To be effective, it needs to be end-to-end. People say they care about privacy until it becomes inconvenient. Privacy is political. No one wants to rebuild the stack, the network, technical and cultural layers required to achieve effective end-to-end privacy. Instead, here we are trying to shortcut the issue by bolting a ZK proof onto a surveillance internet. Vitalik's roadmap assumes that the technical solutions drive adoptions. If we get privacy tools into wallets, people will use them. The panel is saying that's backwards. Even Emil, the optimist of the group, agreed, acknowledging that from a development perspective, it's not very easy to integrate Railgun. You don't care about privacy until you do, he said, and by then, it's already too late. The average user balks at using a more expensive, less convenient system. even if it's more private. When I described the panel as fascinating but depressing, I was reacting to the fact that the panelists are at the forefront of protecting privacy, and they sounded exhausted. And not because the problem is too complex, acknowledging that it is complex, but because the incentives are all wrong. Mainstream culture needs time to catch up, but we need to integrate more protections now before surveillance infrastructure becomes irreversible. What I understood from all this, building a private by default Ethereum will take more than clever tools. It will take clarity, urgency, and conviction. Because privacy isn't about encryption, it's about resistance. And most users aren't looking for resistance, they're just looking for an easier login. Very, very well done.
Well, Pistachio is providing an easier login, so there's that.
Got that part.
I was going to say I resonate with this one very strongly, because part of what we want to do is we want to look into privacy as well, right? And how can we embed privacy to within Pistachio for the user? And I had one of my friends even tell me, he's like, don't even waste your time. Like, retail users don't care about privacy. And so it's this balance of like, who cares about privacy? Who doesn't care about privacy? Do they just want things to be easier? Do they genuinely want their transaction shield or their balances shield, or is it enough to like shield it just enough to where people can't use it, right? And so we're doing some research on the back end. A friend of mine built a you actually met him, JT, at in Denver. You know, he's built he spent the last 3 years building a chain abstraction platform. And he came to me like, hey man, you know, I want to work in consumer, I want to do something, I want to build something specifically in privacy. Can I help you guys like integrate something? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's look into it. And so he's currently doing his research on Railgun, which, you know, that one of the solutions that was mentioned. And from the consensus that we've seen, at least on Twitter, like just sentiment and his initial research, which he's going to give me a more detailed report next week, is that Railgun still is very difficult to implement, right? It's very difficult to use. It's not very intuitive. I haven't used it myself, so, you know, take everything with a grain of salt. I haven't. This is all hearsay. But from my
basis point fees, like they take money out of the total.
Okay, right. So there's something involved with, you know, there's a price to pay if you want to be private. I've seen there's a solution called Fluid Key, which is interesting. And they do basically, it's sort of like ENS off-chain resolution, like where they do like they rotate the resolution address. And so it creates like a pseudo anonymous sense of making it it's sort of like having a mixer built into the ENS resolution. And so this is also something we're potentially looking into that wouldn't cost like basis points on the transaction, but just know that's it's at least it's top of mind for us of implementing. It's just a matter of like it's like, you know, well put by the other person in a way too, is like, do they care, or do they just care about it being easy?
There was a question earlier, I missed it since we're talking about Pistachio, but 12 Meatballs was asking, is the app currently region limited? I'm just looking at the App Store from an EU country.
Yeah, it is. It is currently region limited. There's two requirements. Two things here. One is that we don't operate in OFAC sanctioned countries, and the biggest reason for that is we have this future vision of being an on-chain neobank, right? And also we're an American company, right? It's a Delaware-based company. I'm also American, even if I wanted. It's like, oh, you know, why don't I just get a passport somewhere else and, you know, have the company somewhere else? It's like, man, I'm American. I'm always going to be beholden to our law in some degree, unless I just don't want to go back and visit my family, which I, you know, partially biased to, but I like seeing my family. I love them very much.
Yeah,
so
don't mess that up.
Yeah. And so we have to be the goal is to be an on-chain neobank with privacy, with limited KYC where necessary, and this idea of like full compliance within the United States regulations, right? And we're doing that, and which is in a really cool manner. Like we integrated with Circle for transaction compliance, and Basically, everything's okay as long as you're not trying to send transactions to like sanctioned entities, in which case we don't even block your transaction. We'll just be like, hey, you're about to send a transaction to someone you really should not send a transaction to. Just wanted to let you know that if you do that, your address will be tainted.
Yeah.
And so, by remaining compliant without freezing or blocking accounts. And then so that's one place we're not the OFAC sanctioned countries. The second is the UK. And we launched 129 different countries at launch, right? 129. And one of them is not the UK, because when applying for the App Store, Apple was like, yo, you have to be compliant with this law. You need legal documentation to state that you're compliant with this one law. And the law is that crypto companies are not allowed to advertise to UK citizens. And if you advertise to UK citizens, even accidentally, you are liable for up to 3 years in jail. And
that
so I was
nuts.
like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm like, I'm sorry, UK. I am not going through the legal hoops right now to get this documentation done. We'll figure it out down the line if there's demand from the UK. Also, because we're super focused on the US, Mexico, and Europe will be like our kind of core constituency. And so, sorry, anyone in the UK. If you're in one of the other countries, it's probably an OFAC sanctioned country if it's being geo-limited, and to which I apologize. There's nothing I can really do about that one.
I mean, accidentally advertise. Okay, what does that even mean? They can interpret that to be whatever they want it to mean, it sounds like. So like you talking to me on a podcast, YouTube exists in the UK. It's an advertisement, even though there's no advertising going on. They could just arbitrarily like pull it or ban or
absolutely. There was a Phantom Wallet tweet recently that they put at the bottom of it. This tweet is not intended for UK audiences.
Oh, that's right? What you're gonna have to do. Huh.
And people were like making fun of it or talking about it and just like shit posting about it without realizing. I'm like, no, this is like a real thing it's hilarious that's just what they did. It's just like this is a post. If you're from the UK, don't look,
That's nuts. I was just in Ireland, just got home last week, and I noticed like when I would browse websites over there, you know how you get a little pop-up that says allow cookies or whatever. Over there, it was like freaking 4 check boxes, just to look at some simple thing like when's the next train arriving app, kind of. It was just, God, it was like so much nanny state stuff over there. I mean, it's everywhere. It's just as bad here in certain ways, but it was noticeable in the UK. All right. Well, I hope that gets fixed over time. I should probably mention this podcast is not geared for people in the UK. There.
Yeah. Not intended for UK audiences.
Not intended for UK audiences. Yeah, that's going to annoy maybe one person in our audience right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, user Harog. Let's get back to it. User Harog summarizes the status of Polygon after they announced they're scrapping their Ethereum L2 plans. Oh boy, Harog 223. This is a OG on the old Reddits. The Polygon proof of stake chain started in May 2020. Back then, a general purpose rollups did not exist. OP mainnet started in a limited fashion only 7 months later, and Arbitrum over a year later. Polygon brought high throughput. The peak was 170 transactions per second over a day, and cheap transactions to the Ethereum ecosystem. The term is used very loosely here. The Polygon team bought crypto media figures left and right and brought them on as advisors. The Polygon team stretched definitions and tried to convince people that they are an L2 and not a sidechain. They got criticized heavily for it, rightly so. The reality, however, was that if your dApp was not a high-value dApp, you could not really deploy on Ethereum mainnet because of the high transaction fees. Sure, there were other sidechains, but Polygon with their business development team managed to bring so many major Ethereum projects to their chain. If you wanted composability and cheap fees, you had to be on Polygon. That's why in 2021, 2022, it was the place to be for many lower value dApps. I also deployed quite a few contracts on there. Rollups were still painful to use, unreliable, and more expensive. The plan of Polygon was to migrate the proof of stake chain to a ZK rollup once the tech was ready. They bought the Hermes team to build it for them. Over the coming 2 years, rollups matured and various ZK rollups were released, such as Starknet, ZK Sync, Linnea, and Scroll. Unfortunately, none of the ZK EVMs got massive traction. ZK Sync seems to be doing better than others, though, and Linnea has at least the backing of consensus. Polygon's own ZK EVM has been trailing behind the other ZK rollups, and it did not seem to catch up by any metric, even though the UX got better. Optimistic rollups also stole the mind share away from Polygon proof of stake. In addition, ZK rollups seem to struggle to find product market fit, even though they are more secure than optimistic rollups and improve on some UX issues optimistic rollups have. I guess, at the moment, the most reasonable path forward for ZK rollups teams is to probably try and become the stack on which native rollups are built upon, or later on, even the snarkified mainnet. Not sure how big the chances are for each team is to reach this goal, though. So I would guess the Polygon team did not find a good way to finish their ZK EVM and migrate their chain to their ZK stack. So they had to salvage what's possible and now try to find a way forward with their proof of stake chain. At the moment, Polygon proof of stake does about 2.5 times the transactions Ethereum mainnet does. Not really spectacular, considering the scaling goals we have with mainnet. Polygon will be a slower, more centralized sidechain without interoperability. Centralized, high-throughput chains are also a dime a dozen, and the Polygon proof-of-stake stack is just massively outdated. Not really a good way to convince people to develop on it. So the news about changing the focus for Polygon is not really surprising, but also not really impactful, as most people moved on from Polygon POS. I am not sure what they want us to focus on. Let me read that. I am not sure what they would want to focus on, but I would be surprised if Polygon POS manages to survive as a side chain. My. How much time? That took, 5 years to do that? That's crazy. They were everything there for... It's so crazy how many big things come and go in this space. They were moving and shaking.
Once upon a time, I think one of the only things that I was using Polygon for was escrowing like some Aave positions. Once upon a time, those have been migrated off, and Klima, I was originally on Polygon POS, and they've migrated, I think, over to Base. So everything I was using it for has been migrated off there by now. So yeah, Yes, I have like $10 of gas there probably, just as a default.
Yeah.
Probably could get like 9.99 off of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Pull back everything but dust.
Right on. Well, if you're watching us on X, you can stop by the EV Mavericks Discord channel if you want to join in on the conversation. We are here with Brian Smocovich from Pistachio. We've also got our technical interviewer, Logri the Bard from tokenomicsexplained.com. Looks like we've had quite a few people streaming through and checking out our YouTube channel, EV Mavericks, all one word. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell, all those things. All right, moving on down the list. Minimal gravitas encourages us to be the change we want to see. I love it. I love these types of posts. Be the change you want to see. The more sensible people that contribute over there, the more interesting content readers there will see. I think he's talking about our cryptocurrency. Yeah, there's a lot of Bitcoin maxis, Solana shills, and generally dishonest actors, but if you can be bothered to engage and call out their BS, it can be a fun way to force yourself to learn more about Ethereum's design choices. I sporadically decide to push back over there against blatant falsehoods. And every time the arguments follow the same pattern. Here's the bullets. They make a false claim based on whatever narrative their influencer of choice is currently peddling. For example, Ethereum costs too much to use, so everything will eventually be built on Bitcoin. Or Ethereum is dead. Most projects have moved on to faster chains. All right, here we go. You point out why that is false. They provide links to back it up. For example, block explorers showing current costs of transactions on both chains, or links to recent announcements by big companies showing they're building on Ethereum. A next bullet. They claim you're cherry picking and that the narrative that they have heard is correct in general. No references ever supplied. Haha. You provide more data. For example, the charts of historical transaction costs, or Hani Abu's Ethereum adoption list. Hell yeah. Then they try to change the topic to something unrelated. Quote, well then why are the EF dumping on you all the time? Unquote. Well, you ask if they're conceding that their first claim was false before moving on to the next topic. That's a great debate tactic. Just go back to the first thing. They then in every case take one of two options. Either make some comment on how none of it matters as the price of ETH isn't doing well, or they just block you. While that may seem like a boring waste of time to go through every time, it's actually useful. For other people, reading it makes it very clear which side is full of crap. It also helps inoculate at least some members of the community against some of the egregious false narratives that get pushed on investors. And secondly, the people who block you, they can't see your posts or comments, meaning they are unable to jump in to derail discussion next time you post anything positive about Ethereum or the news over there. Very good. Logri the Bard says, yeah, when you do this, Minimal Gravitas, link the result to Tricky Trolls so we can include it on the anti-FUD bot training materials. Yeah, we're building a bot, an AI FUD bot on Ethereum. It's going to be cool. Super cool. Minimal Gravitas, great sentiments. Duder number 51, longtime fan of this show. All right, insurance guy question makes a case for Circle adopting the MicroStrategy technique for ETH, while Rhythm of ETH makes a good counterpoint. By the way, insurance guy question has been around for a little bit, but they have been climbing up pretty quick on the old Duders list. Thanks for being a good contributor. Insurance guy question says Circle should take the SBET route, $SBET route, and create an ETH reserve that rivals MicroStrategy's BTC reserve. The company has the revenue and is large enough that it could easily borrow over $50 to $100 billion. The implications of something on this scale, given ETH's current market cap, would be astronomical and could multiply its price several times over. This would also align to their brand since their main product is so deeply integrated into the ETH ecosystem. It's just a random thought I had, but I'm curious if they've ever actually considered it internally. User Rhythm of ETH replies, I doubt they can do this. They have almost no funds to buy ETH. Remember that to stay compliant with EU and the US soon, legal frameworks, they must have over collateralization with USD and euros denominated assets. European denominated assets. They gain revenue on treasuries, and the play is to have an F ton of money, a metric ton of money, of those assets yielding. If for whatever reason they started having crypto on their books, it'd need to be beyond the said collateral and fully segregated. Otherwise, they'd be as much of a dump play as USD Tether is, right? So really the only cash they have is the millions they've raised through IPO. And I'm pretty sure they want the cash to burn it as OPEX and expand, not to create a crypto treasury. It'd also be a drop in the bucket anyways. It's not happening in my opinion. Circle is the opposite play to MicroStrategy. It is the sane non-leverage play. We need that way more than speculative ETH treasuries by stock exchange companies. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. I'm here for the party. I just don't know where the end game of MicroStrategy is going to end up. It just seems like, I don't know, spinning plates at a circus. It just feels like it could really unwind in a bad way eventually. But who knows? Who knows? Oh boy. Logri the Bard concludes his AI in-game series. Well, you know what time it is. It's Logri the Bard time, so I'm going to have to take a drink of water.
Crypto economics.
That would be a tremendous loss to the world, but the Ethereum machine would just keep chugging.
Just keep chugging.
Just keep chugging. Just keep chugging. Just keep chugging.
Oh boy.
Just keep chugging. Just keep chugging.
All right, the AI in game. Here we go. The AI in game. This is the last of the series, the concluding from the post series, available tokenomicsexplained.com. I hope I can keep my voice together through this. Ever since I got home from Ireland, I feel like I've been getting like whatever travel flu is going around. All right, regardless of the path we take as a species, it's worth noting this isn't AI's fault. In a late-stage capitalism in-game, AI will not subjugate humanity by its choice. Humanity will do this to itself. Furthermore, you can't expect this technology to slow down. The stakes are too high. The momentum is already too great. Instead, we need to prepare for this future. We need to scale up investments in technologies that preserve a place for humanity in the world. This includes human coordination technologies I write about frequently. But we also need to prepare defensive applications of AI that can protect you from the biases and extractive interests of those currently investing hundreds of billions a year into this grand endeavor. If the problem with using AI for information retrieval is bias injection, then having a defensive AI detect and strip those biases is the answer. This is similar to ad block in your browser today. Oh, interesting. If the problem with using AI for automation is that you aren't being compensated for your subject matter expertise, then building a personal or community AI you can monetize is the answer. We need to accelerate AI in a defensive way. To accomplish this, we need to focus on making model creation accessible to the masses. This gets a little technical, but here's an incomplete list of technologies we should focus on developing. Models need ownership frameworks, and these owners need to be able to monetize use. This is important to fund the creation of the model, but a revenue stream from model ownership is also the answer to having all of your skills monetized and being made obsolete. This is possible in multiple ways using either privacy technologies like MPC, which stands for multi-party computation, or special ways of encrypting the data so decryption is required at the time of use. The next point, personal data needs to be more readily convertible to a training-ready format. Training data needs to be curated by little more than watching you perform skills. Historical data needs to be convertible to training data in bulk by doing little more than granting permission to access it. Data labeling for more complex tasks needs to be crowdsourced. If you are using AI today, you are already crowdsourcing this data for the tech giants. But we can create platforms that let you do this to earn partial ownership of the models that train using the data you label. The next point, community models will require governance frameworks which are more sophisticated than the tools we have today to manage patching open source code. Hardware for training the model needs to be widely accessible without relying on large cloud providers like AWS. Literally, billions of people aren't able to create AWS accounts. This will require a globally accessible supply of hardware, which can be accessed without KYC and with little more than a mobile phone or a decade-old laptop. The cost of creating models needs to be reduced by orders of magnitude. This can be done in two ways. First, a public listing of models and some type of benchmark of their competencies will let you reduce costs by starting training with a model which is already competent at similar tasks. Second, if we create peer-to-peer markets for enterprise-grade hardware, we can reduce the exploitive margins the largest cloud providers charge. The technical competence of training needs to be accessible without an interview process. The cleanest way to do this is to create job board style marketplaces where those with this expertise can bid against each other to guarantee a fair rate while making this skill set available to whomever needs it. Individuals need to be able to protect their data sets while accessing this hardware. This can be achieved with TEEs, that's TEE, which means trusted execution environment, if done very carefully. AI interference needs to be viable on consumer hardware that can sit beside the owner. This is possible either by training on much smaller models to start or by training large models and then discarding weights that weren't relevant to the specialization training set. I've seen specialized models which were 90% smaller than frontier large language models. They were trained from without sacrificing task competency. And finally, AIs need to be composable into agentic meshes, so many smaller AIs can be combined to complete more complex tasks. Together, these advances can enable billions of people to create small-scale personal and community AIs. Can this be done? Can you really build an AI without hiring a team of data scientists and running your own AI company? Can an AI make you? Can an AI you make really compete without the same scale of capital as the leading players today? It's actually more viable and probable than you think. With respect to capital investment, AIs with narrower focus and higher quality data can be made effective at tasks with exponentially less data and capital investment than the AGI efforts of the tech giants. With respect to technical skill, solutions to all of this are already in development in an ecosystem called decentralized AI. A full post is available at Logri the Bard's website, tokenomicsexplained.com. Thank you, Logri.
Yeah, that was 3 months of that was sitting in draft from like the middle of March until now. So that was a good chunk of work. It came to like 50,000 characters.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good chunk.
Hey,
My
guys.
wife says I need to write a book, but I don't know.
Yeah, you should. It would be, I mean, it would probably end up being very niche and a bit dense and maybe over my intelligence grade, but I think you would.
You should, but I wouldn't be the
write a
audience.
great book. No, when I had my first conversation with you in person, I'm just like, man, this guy's probably one of the few just geniuses I've just spoken to. We're just like, you're a very brilliant dude. On that note, I'm gonna leave you with the compliment because I gotta go. I have a call in 1 minute, and so thank you
Thanks
so
for
much
taking
for
the time.
having me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, congratulations, Brian Smocovich from PistachioFi on getting the launch out the door, and enjoy the rest of your day, man. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, guys. You good?
All right, cheers. Excellent day, as they say in Russia.
Yeah, that post is it doesn't mention decentralization really. It doesn't mention coordination. It doesn't mention anything that would suspect you that I'm about to shill crypto until the last two words, right?
Yeah.
It's a wolf in sheep's clothing for anyone that just hates crypto and generally is wary of AI, right? And that is like, I go all over Reddit. I see on technology or futurology, or I see it even AI subreddits and anti-work subreddits, on collapse subreddits, like on Twitter, on Farcaster, on various Medium articles. There is a prevailing and growing unease for the pace of AI adoption right now.
Oh, it's nuts.
And so can we give this article to those people, which is I think a majority of people, and say, okay, well, I'm going to take your fears, I'm going to put words to them, I'm going to make them more concrete and intelligent, and make it so that you can really identify what you're afraid of and why. I'm going to give it to you in a package with authority from someone who knows what they're talking about. And then I'm going to say, and there's a glimmer of hope down at the bottom. And that glimmer of hope happens to do with this crypto thing that you've never considered would help you, right? but is actually indispensable for the defensive applications of AI. They're going to save you from your fears. And if you can give that to people, then we have a whole, where we could potentially expand from 50 million people to billions of people, right? Who would benefit from the defensive applications of artificial intelligence. So it's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and I hope that we can get it into a lot of people's hands who are not in the Web3 space, because that's where it needs to be. I very deliberately kept out a lot of the Web3 type of discussion and parlance and familiar terms throughout the discussion to make it more approachable to people without a technical background, who are laymen, people who we would consider outside the Web3 space. So get it to their hands.
Yeah, Logri, what you're asking to do, it's the right thing to do, is we need to open up mom and pop AI shops in a world of Walmart AI. So in other words, if people don't vote with their dollar in their town, eventually everybody's going to be shopping at Sam's Club, right? So AWS and all these cloud providers have basically, I feel like, brainwashed entire industries of smaller, data centers. And they just don't even realize that, hey, you can actually host a server at home. It's just
whether or not it's the server hosting, just, okay, you're a programmer. It's expected you're going to use Cloud AI today.
Sure.
Right? Or some equivalent. Perplexity
right.
for information retrieval. Increasingly, our relationship with AI is mandatory, not voluntary. It's either implicit because you have to hit your performance quotas. The only way to do that is use the productivity gains of AI. Or it's explicit in that it's literally on the job skills, right? It'll be on the job listing, required previous experience with AI, right? So whether it's implicit or explicit, most people's introduction to AI is going to be through their work. And as you are using that AI, you are training it how to do your job. You are crowdsourcing the information to put your job into a black box for Google or for Claude or for Gemini, OpenAI or whomever it is, whatever AI engine you're using. So you can do that, but if you're using AI today, it's not just that you're automating tasks, you are being automated.
The whole company.
If you want a brighter future for yourself, you should probably invest your subject matter expertise into training a model that you can use for your job that is loyal to you. And you should probably go around to the people that share that skill set with you. And whether you're just going to go on like a developer forum, like Experienced Devs or something, and say, I use Claude AI. We see people do that today. They don't get paid for that. What if I had a model that was as good as Claude AI for Python development or something, right? And I could go and push that across there. And now I make money when it's used. Right? Now, what if I take a bunch of other good Python developers, like the people who actually write Python, and they're used, in addition to their job, they help to curate the data set, so it becomes even better at Python development.
Right.
If every time that there's a new, version of Python that comes out, or new like core libraries that come out, we add good examples to the training set, so the AI immediately knows how to use those. Like, okay, now we've added an extra revenue stream to those people, and everyone that's using it. The money isn't all being concentrated in the hands of a couple of tech oligarchs. It's being distributed to the people that are making the tools that you are using to do your job, the things that you actually value, right? It's like local economy spending.
Yeah.
That's a micro example with this, but there's so many skills that AI is applicable to that aren't programming, right? That right now are kind of outside the technical access of people that aren't computer proficient by career. So you get some teacher in a classroom. Well, are they necessarily computer whiz? No. Could AI assist them with their job? Absolutely. Right. How about not just saying like, okay, here, grade this essay for me, but like in math, where did they go wrong and what can I do to help them? Right? Can I get live tutors out to students as they're doing their homework, so they have a attentive guide to help them, steer them in learning, right? That'd be much more effective than, here, do these 20 problems at home, come back the next day. Well, did you get it right or not? You got an 80. Great. Okay. Did I learn anything from that? No. So the only thing you're grading me by isn't my knowledge of it. It's like, what's the grade represent? Because it's not a certification of how much I know by the end. It's a certification of how effective I was at figuring things out on my own on Classroom, like when I went home at the end of the day, right? So it's not really a good certification project or attestation system of knowledge.
Right.
So what do grades really mean? Can we change the dynamics of that?
All of the education, higher level especially, is...
So medical diagnostics, drug discovery, legal discovery.
It's all about the prompt.
You can write an AI that is going to simulate a prosecutor and will write the best prosecution case and digest the evidence and will simulate the defense and will give the best defensive case. You can write an AI that will simulate the judge and understands courtroom procedures and will hear both of those, and then you can experiment with permutations of your brief and the evidence in order. Right. And for a couple $100 of credits, you can get a much better lawyer experience representing you, making the best case it can for you, right? On permutations of attacks that the other side's going to write against you. So the legal case, I think medical diagnostics is a big case for this. I think logistics is a big case for this. I think finance systems, all the accounting type of stuff, a lot of those systems can be automated by this. There are so many informatics tasks that come down to these individual skills. So let's get the skills into models that pay you locally and then build those skills through agentic meshes into basically synthetic jobs, right? And either way, your job is going to get automated. This way, I'm offering you a life raft. DAI is offering you a life raft so that when your job is automated, when there's no economic value left to it that you can extract as a person, you're still being compensated for the skills that you have today. This is like your chance, right? And in 10 years, you won't have that chance anymore. Yeah,
you got to figure out a way to break out of the big box and make your own little box and try to make money.
This is the red pill.
Yeah.
And the challenge for the DAI ecosystem is to lower the skill gap enough that all these other occupations I'm talking about that aren't computer science native, right? That they can access the AI tech stack to make a model, to monetize that model, right? To evangelize that across their coworkers, to drive adoption for it, and get that traffic off of these AGI models that the big tech companies are trying to own and own forever as frontier models to get you addicted to.
It's like they're just sucking in everybody. They're sucking in all of human knowledge. It's like, oh man.
They're internally, they are making agentic meshes. It's not just one giant model to rule them all. They are going to fragment out and specialize because they can see the user segments that are using their technology. So when you query Gemini, it's going to try and route you. It's going to classify your query, and then it's going to try and route that down to a more specialized model, and that thing's going to go and do programming for you, right? Like they're going to do the same type of structure that I'm suggesting internally, but they're going to do it with loads more crowdsourced data because everyone's giving this data for free.
Yeah,
they're actually, in many cases, paying them for giving the data.
Yeah, paying them.
it is not in your advantage. If you are a worker who is using AI today, to be training them how to do your job without you, and paying them for the privilege.
Training the replacement.
So if you're going to train your replacement, and the AI tech stack will let you own that replacement. So it is the life raft that's available in what is otherwise a world with grim prospects for you. So my post makes this case, I hope, conclusively, and I hope that you can get this post out to people that are not Web3 natives, that are using AI, and we can crystallize their fears into something more tangible and offer them a glimmer of hope, and get them to investigate this DAI tech stack, because humanity needs this.
Yeah, we got a very short amount of time for getting it right, and I don't know if we will. All right, Rhythm of ETH, Duder number 29 for this week points out that almost all stablecoins are still on mainnet for trust reasons. Duder number 29, they write, the reminder here is mainnet has 130 billion in stablecoins. Layer 2 combined barely have more than 10 billion. Since November 2024, it's a 30% increase in mainnet and 10% increase in L2s. All this while mega gas, I hope I said that right, throughput increase 20% in L1 and a whopping 90% increase in L2s, with base leading. L2 scaling execution is no news. L1 remains the absolute source of trust and liquidity, which should not be news either. Recent developments like Shopify integration with Base is going to increase transacted stablecoin volumes, but it's unlikely that'll increase the amount of stablecoins locked there significantly. It's sane to expect this could actually increase stables in L1 considerably. Trust is the commodity. Ethereum is where you store it, and ETH is your trust primitive, store of trust. That was very succinct and very well written. Thank you, Rhythm of ETH. Moving on down, we got two left. Harog shares Joe Lubin's take on the Etherealize project. This is the second one for Harog this week. Double duder on the weekly. Joe Lubin's take on the Etherealize post. They write, Joe Lubin talks about the recent Etherealize report and its analysis. He loves it and sets it into context of what was discussed in the space for many years. He said there is one big flaw in the report. It's not bullish enough. He then goes on. The change that Ethereum will bring will be larger than any of us can imagine at the moment. There is currently no single way to value Ethereum which is able to capture all that. Some of the valuation models have been talked about in the report. He adds an idea of trust commodity. Ethereum will be the highest standard of trust on the planet. This gives Ethereum value, which is far beyond anything that standard revenue-based models can predict. Hani Abu replies, well, now it's official. You're not bullish enough. And there's a link to the tweet on X. Okay, very good. Very, very, very good. And finally for this week, CMonkey82 shares a cool tool for consolidating validators to 0x02 credentials securely. CMonkey82 bridges across the 50 mark on this week's Daily Doots leaderboard. Yes, finally a tool for withdrawal credential upgrades and consolidation that has an air-gapped mode. You can find that at github.com, and it looks like /Luga nodes, and you can get it from there. Thanks for calling this to my attention. Shout out to Nixo. All right, that's it. We made it. We've got so many guests coming up. I'm excited. We're really filling up the guest list, moving on into the future here, and it looks like I think we got people all the way into middle, almost late August. Let's take a look at that real quick, just one more time.
Yeah, click on the podcast link.
I'm hitting the wrong link.
You keep going to weekly roundups.
There we go. There we go.
Link, then scroll.
There we go. June 27th is that's a next week, friends. Offo and Matt from Green Pill Dev Guild. No show on the 4th. Sid Powell on the 11th from Maple Finance. July 18th, Mike Rainbow from Rainbow Wallet. July 25th, Mark Mirabella from Insuro. August 1st, Paul Berg from Sablier. August 8th, Loring Harkness from Shutter Network. And August 22nd, Leo Lanza of the bull case for ETH. So thanks again to Logri the Bard from tokenomicsexplained.com for being a technical interviewer today. Shout out once again to Brian Smocovich from PistachioFi. We're just so glad that everybody was able to hang out with us today on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, and 2 channels on X. We love doing this for you guys every single week. It's amazing. 115 episodes in, been going strong for 2 years. We ain't going anywhere. Thanks so much for subbing and smashing bells around here. You can stick around after the live stream because we continue the party in the hotel lobby on Discord for a bonus hour of popcorn. It's a fun place to let loose when your parents aren't watching on YouTube. Hi, Mom. On behalf of the Ethfinance Daily general discussion on our Ethereum and the EV Mavericks DAO, my name is JT. Cheers and big hugs from Kansas City.